Good evening and welcome to episode 2 of the Sundown Rundown. Today, Monday, May 1st, 2023. I'm in the lab with Kyle. Special in-house guest speaker, Mr. Picks, present. Look forward to him later on in the show. It's going to be a good episode today. Can't wait to get into it with all of you. I want to just jump right into our errors. We had a lot of fans. We thank our fans. We're nothing without them. Point out our errors. Can't appreciate that more than anything. We apparently morphed DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker into one human. I think that would have been a great basketball player, skill sets. I did. Okay, well, that's my apologies. I did. It's DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker, not DeAndre Booker. Could be a hell of an athlete, though.
Who called you out on that? Because we can thank them. Let's give them a special
Aaron.
shout.
We like Aaron.
Okay,
We'd like to thank Aaron for paying attention. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron.
Apparently, our hockey knowledge isn't as sharp as we thought it was.
It sure isn't.
The Avalanche won last year.
Did we even check that? Because what if someone was...
No, I looked it up. Yes, the Avalanche won last year. They're out this year. Big win by the Kraken last night. The team before that, you were right, though, was the Kings. 2013.
Look, my hockey knowledge is pretty good, so I'm allowed to slip up once in a while.
If it wasn't for 2022 Colorado Avalanche, you would have been correct.
That would have been a slam dunk guess.
Slam dunk guess. On the Instagram story and the Twitter story, I put episode drops at sunset.
Oh.
Well, my wife was like, "What is the point of calling yourself Sundown if you're gonna, sun?"
Was that just like a?
Well, okay, Sundown is a big cowboy thing,
Okay.
Southwest Cowboys. You want a duel? Meet me in the middle of town at sundown. Right. So that was just. We've been called cowboys.
But it's sundown.
It's sundown. Sunset. I just put it out there. It's a more accepted term in society nowadays. But we're not about that. We're about the sundown.
Oh, okay. It's making a lot more sense now that. Okay.
All right. The Avalanche correction was.
That was by my brother and his significant other, who, longtime listeners, and they're hockey heads. So we were sorry if that offended anyone. It's just not our thing right now.
Right now.
We'll try to get into it though.
And who cares that the Avalanche won last year? They just got bounced.
Yeah.
In the first round.
It's what did you do lately?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they lost to an expansion team.
Their first playoffs,
first ever series.
The first NHL team to ever win against a previous champion. NHL's expansion team to win against a previous Stanley Cup champion. All right, we'll talk about NHL later. Let's get into NBA.
Okay.
Suns, Nuggets. Are either of those teams going to be able to stop the Lakers? Do you look at either team and think if LeBron, in his ways right now, LeBron looked scary in that series when he wanted to. Do you think either team stops him, or do you like the winner Suns Nuggets to move on?
I do. I think that Denver looked awesome in their game one, which is, I don't know if I want to say surprising. I think Phoenix played pretty poorly. When Jamal Murray plays like that, that team is really unstoppable. And then Jokic with a 19 rebound and huge game by him. They just have a lot of good pieces when they're clicking. I think Phoenix needs to really step up. I think it's going to go 6 or 7, though. I think Phoenix will figure it out. I think Durant and Booker will have a game where they light them up. But that's going to be a fun series. It's very interesting. The NBA has on each conference one really cool series and one kind of
who cares
mediocre series with the Lakers. Well, the Lakers and Golden State will be fun, but those teams weren't good during the season all the time. I think that Phoenix and Denver is that would be a cool conference finals, but they unfortunately have to play each other. Same with 76ers and Boston, which another thing that we got some slack for is last episode we didn't bring up the Boston Celtics one time. So
I was thinking about that. The Sixers and the Celtics just took care of business, and the games were very just not as exciting.
Yeah, especially the Sixers sweeping. The Celtics went to 6, but we just forgot to bring them up. That's okay. That series way more exciting than the Knicks Heat one, and that's coming from a Knicks fan. I think that series, unfortunately, would be a good conference finals, but they have to play each other earlier.
Also, you're all aboard 76ers Celtics being better than
Yes.
Heat. I was opposite take.
Oh, that
I
series
think
is
it's
fun.
better storylines than Heat Knicks.
Those two teams are very good, and they don't like each other. I think that's going to be a fun one.
Okay. Well, the Lakers or Golden State then?
I think Golden State's going to do really well. I think the Lakers might, I don't want to say run out of gas. I'm going to try to do my best to not be a big sports cliche guy when we're doing this. I think, though, that they might just have some dud games like we've seen in the past. I do think the firepower for the Warriors is going to be really hard to match, but I also think that the Warriors are playing huge. Like, Looney had such a crazy game for them last game against the Kings. And if they're shooting the ball well, and obviously if Steph Curry's playing like he is, that team is going to be really tough. I do like that the Lakers took care of business, though. I like that they won their series. I like that they have a little chip on their shoulder, but...
Where was Game 7?
Game 7 for the Lakers was in Memphis.
So they went to Memphis? No, they won a Game 6. They won a Game 6 in LA.
Their
that's
game
right.
was in Memphis because of...
Calm down, Aaron. I know you're ready to fact check us on that one.
But I think the series are going to be both very good. Both conferences have two really good series, which we kind of don't see a lot. I don't know why. I mean, we could, in a week from now, be like, yeah, one of those series really sucks.
I think someone said that the Nuggets were going to sweep the Suns. It's a bold take.
They're almost there. They're a fourth of the way there.
Nice. Good math.
But, I think it's just long series. It's especially with they spread these out a little bit better. You take a plane ride home and you rest a little bit more.
Opposite of hockey.
Yeah, which I know a lot about, so I'm going to keep talking about it.
The cliche is true though. It's the same teams moving past. You would want as a fan to see Kings move on past Golden State. You would want to see the Grizzlies and see these young guys play, but someone tweeted out yesterday, I wish I remembered the name, but they're like, the regular season just is a joke in the NBA. You can finish 8th seed, come in, and you're just, as long as you can turn it on in the playoffs, it doesn't matter the regular season.
Yeah, it seemed like, obviously for ratings and everything like that, there was a lot of weird slack that these guys were getting for load management. Like all the first takes of the world were really getting on them, whether it was Kawhi or LeBron or whatever, but they know the deal. It's a game. You get to that postseason and becomes a totally new slate, and they just figure out how to win stuff. So it's very hard for us to sit there and say what determines it. If these guys are tired, no one will be able to know that unless they come out and say, like, yeah, we were exhausted. We busted our ass for 80 whatever games, and we got a good seed, and it didn't matter because the other team was rested and whatever. It seems like that was the case, at least for the Warriors and the Lakers. They were ready to go when it mattered.
True. I mean, LeBron took that game off in Memphis, Game 5. You could clearly tell he was out with 2 minutes left, just sitting on the bench wearing his long sleeve pullover. So he just knows today's not the day. I don't need it to be the day.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Grizzlies? They talk the talk. They cannot walk the walk. And Ja Morant has come out and said that we spoke around too much. It was too much trash talk. I came back in March to focus on my play, and I had too much trash talk. I don't want the team to do that. Dylan Brooks has yet to come out and apologize for being a douchebag. Already in Cancun, Dylan Brooks, according to the video.
He got fined for his lack of talking to the media, which is whatever. He knew what he was going to do. I think that I don't want to. This is my hot take probably of the day, but I think that the Ja Morant, talk about failures and stuff. This was a really terrible year for this guy, for what he did during the middle of the season to his team and the chemistry of his team, and how distracting that was, that this guy was basically suspended for his detrimental activities at these clubs and stuff. You can't look at that and be like, well, he came back and he was fine afterwards. That's just a huge thing that these guys had to overcome, and they were not ready in the playoffs. They weren't, and he wasn't, and he's kind of that guy that, like, gets going off of trash talk, and you can tell he didn't want to be that guy. He didn't want to be the jerk or the, I don't want to say Draymond or even Dylan Brooks, but he's one of those guys that gets in people's faces, and that's how he plays. He plays pissed off, and that's what motivates him, and he wasn't. And I think it's like he's very concerned about this image. And that's my hot take of the day. I could be totally off, but that's the perception I got, was like, this guy's just not pissed off enough like he used to be when he was just trying to dunk on everyone.
Do you think maybe he was like ashamed or embarrassed of Dylan Brooks and his behavior, and he's like, this is now our team's image. We've become the bad guys. I mean, you're playing the LeBron James Lakers and you become the bad guys. That's tough to do.
Yeah, you had everything going for you to make you like the likable team, and then Brooks does his stuff, and then you get your mid-season suspension, and then you line up against LeBron, who's arguably one of the most hated guys in the NBA for multiple reasons, and people are rooting for LeBron. It's backwards, and I think they knew that it really bit them in the ass. I think this offseason, they're going to make some moves, because obviously they're very talented. They had some bad injuries with their centers, their two centers going out, and they had to rely a lot on Jackson, who is a big liability with foul trouble, especially without any backups. He's a great defender, but he was playing not scared in the game, but scared of getting fouls. So is it a different series with Steven Adams? I maybe, but it's tough to look back. This is a tough year, and I'll use the failure word for them, because they had a really good.
Don't tell Giannis.
Yeah, well, that's another story too. We could talk about it another time, but
Dylan Brooks is a free agent.
Yeah, he's gonna be playing in China next year.
Oh, okay.
No one's gonna want.
I think that's your hottest take.
No one's gonna want that guy.
Oh man, what are your thoughts on Giannis and the failure issue?
I've heard this before. I don't think it's a bad thing to say it's a failure. You're going in to try to win a championship, and if you don't complete that task, then you failed at it. It doesn't mean that the season was a waste. It doesn't mean that you guys are the worst players or you guys are bad. It just means you had a failure of a season. If you ask, and he brought up Michael Jordan, like not winning every single season. If you ask Michael Jordan what those seasons were, he would tell you they were
failures.
If you ask Derek Jeter, when he never won a championship, he would say this season was a failure.
When that Luis Gonzalez ball went over the top of his head.
I cried during that game.
I cried tears of joy.
Yeah, that was my first time ever crying during a sporting event, was when the Yankees lost that series. But yeah, that was a failure. And then if the Yankees lost in the first round or the World Series, it didn't matter. There was a clip that I was sent of Derek Jeter getting interviewed, and he was like, it doesn't matter when you lose, it's a failure. World Series loss or don't make it to the playoffs, it's a failure. And you can't gauge which one's worse or not. They try to ask him, like, well, which one was worse? It's like, you don't look at it, it's just a failure. So I don't think Giannis was wrong. I think that's what you teach kids. Like, it's not a failure, but you're also a professional athlete getting paid $30 million to play basketball, so you can kind of be critical of these guys.
Yeah. Is it the saying that you learn the most from your failures? That you go out there and become stronger and better because of your failures? I think the Giannis thing I think he was too emotional. Mm-hmm. I think someone was like calling it a failure, asking him if he thinks it's a failure, and he just was not in a good mindset, which is tough. You just lost. I believe one article talked about how Giannis wanted to retire after winning the series, the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Because of the pressure to come back and repeat is so heavy and so strong that he didn't want that mental stress. So honestly, I don't think Giannis is the most mentally tough athlete.
Yeah.
He's physically, he's a beast.
But he's a fun guy. He seems very positive. He seems like a really good role model kind of guy, but like he's not like a killer. He's not a Kobe. He's not one of these guys that's like there to just win.
Yeah, he's none of that mindset. Who's your the first series, the opening series? Who's your MVP of that going into the second round?
It's got to be Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler over Brunson.
Yeah, I think Brunson
over LeBron.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jimmy had an unbelievable series, like noteworthy, like historical series to take down a 1 seed and to have like games where he scored 40 plus and 50 plus. He was a hero of that series. I don't know how much it's gonna. Now he got hurt, but yeah. I talked to you yesterday or the day before the Knicks game. I thought the Knicks were gonna do a way better job of stopping him than the other teams. The Knicks have played good defense this entire postseason. I know they're not playing against the Heat, but they held the Cavs, who had a lot of good scores, to like around 100 points a game for the whole series. So I think Jimmy's the MVP so far, just based off of what he's done.
You know, the Heat were the first 8 seed to lose that opening match, or was it the 7, the 7 and the 8 and the 9 and the 10?
The nice play-in tournament.
Yeah, and the Heat lost that. They were the 7th seed. They lost to the 10th seed.
Right, they flipped.
Yes.
Yeah, they did the. They were almost dead.
They were, and then now here they are. They're
up 1-0 in the semifinals.
They're gonna beat the Celtics or the Sixers.
Well, they gotta get through New York.
Okay, all right. New York's back.
I don't know.
New York's back, except in hockey. There is tonight. There is hope. It's in Jersey, not a far drive. I'm sure it probably takes 3 hours because of traffic, but mileage-wise.
It's true. It's like a 12-mile, but it takes 3 hours. Yeah.
The big game tonight. I know we've been talking hockey early. The Rangers going to close it out.
It would be really wonderful if they did. I don't know that series, and this is the only series I've watched. So I've watched a bunch of the games. I think that Game 7 in hockey playoffs is unlike any other sport, and that's coming from a guy who ranks hockey as his 4th sport. I think Game 7 hockey playoffs is unbelievable. So it should be incredible. I really hope they don't get in a hole early, because what I've noticed, and the hockey fans can really check me, is if you have a lead in a Game 7 like that, then it just becomes like kind of like that Euro soccer where they just kind of put it around and they just keep away, which again, tactical, fine, but that's when it's not exciting. If it's one goal game, then it'll be fun.
I think it'll be a good game tonight too. I hope the Rangers come away with that victory just for your sake.
Yeah, for our sake.
Because the Islanders losing, the Knicks losing Game 1. I mean, you basically have to put Aaron Rodgers in every single stadium in New York to get excitement going at this point, and that's just unfortunate.
He looks fun. He looks like he's having a good time. I mean, he's living life in New York and going to all the games and stuff, and every time they show him, the crowd goes absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, they had no one else to go bonkers for him.
No.
Yeah. The Kraken win. They beat the Avalanche. Huge game. The Golden Knights destroyed your new favorite team, the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
You can't stand that. And these teams are just franchises that just start up. They come into hockey. They come into the West Division for hockey, and they're just blowing up the scene right now.
I think that's really unique. I don't know how that would translate in other sports. Like the fact that these teams come. I mean, we saw it with the Houston Texans. That team sucked for like 12 years. I mean, they still suck, but at least like it took them forever to get going. So it's really impressive that these teams just come into a league and like already doing damage.
Did we talk about this last time? How a new franchise is every team's required to give 2 players,
right?
To a new franchise.
You get like a bunch of protected players, and then other guys you're not allowed to protect or something, and then they can steal from you. That's what I've heard, that if they were going to do it in the NBA, you have to set like, I don't know what the number would be, but 8 of your roster. You're like, okay, these 8 guys, and then the rest
are open.
Your
Tyler Hero will be playing for the NBA version of the Kraken, yeah. which I kind of like.
Well, you also, I think strategically, teams would be like, all right, maybe he's our 5th best guy, but he's making a lot of money. Like, who's the guy on the Heat? Not the Tyler Hero, but the other white guy that just shoots threes, and he stunk the other day. Oh, God, it's going to kill me now. Duncan Robinson.
Yes.
So Duncan Robinson this year is making an astronomical amount of money to go 0 for 5 from 3 and play 13 minutes in a playoff game.
He's got that's him with the haircut. His hair's so high up in the
good player, like a nice little 29-year-old guy, like good pro, probably practices really well, and good form shooting. He averaged 6 points a game this year. So that guy, do you want him on your team? Yeah, but do you want to keep him if he's making a ton of money? That'd be the guy that you're like dangle in front
Send
of
to the Kraken. Yeah. You're gonna go play hockey.
And then you know what?
Seattle.
That could totally revitalize that guy. And I'm sure that's what happened to these guys. Is like they go and they're pissed off, or they're like, this is a really cool opportunity. Maybe I'm gonna play more than I did in my previous situation. So I think it's cool. I think it's really cool.
I think my best take from that is it gets the fan base immediately excited. Mm-hmm. If you get players who are invested and not just like a bunch of guys from the draft and a bunch of free agents that aren't already on teams.
Yeah. You don't want the guys that are there just for the money purposes. So like, it's really cool that you get the guys with the storylines that just want to like go and they're hungry to actually win. I think it's cool. I think it's really awesome. I would love to see it in another sport just to see it go down in a current age.
Yeah.
Like in the Twitter world of sports, to see like, all right, we're going to put a basketball team back in Seattle and you can only protect 8 of your guys, and see how teams strategically go about doing it and how good that team could possibly be.
The Texans finally had a good draft, and if I was a Houston Texans fan, I would never be excited that Seattle Kraken within 1 year get to at least say, hey, we're going to the playoffs. We just beat the defending Stanley Cup champs. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We have special guest, Mr. Picks, in the lab. Mr. Picks, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Off the surgery table, gentlemen.
That's right.
ACL injury.
He was
ACL injury.
Unbelievable.
I think people were asking, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm walking already. 2 weeks post-operation. My goal is to be back soon, just to get you guys the updated picks. Because in the correction, the Twitter feed was inaccurate. My picks last week were, what was it? Both money lines for the NBA and then the LA Kings plus 1.5. We messed up and said parlay all three. So we apologize for that.
We deeply do. You wanted to parlay the 2 basketball games and then send it on the hockey game.
I did.
And we missed that translation.
Granted, the hockey did not pan off, but the 2 NBA picks did. But the biggest thing right here is, I'm going to explain to everybody, is betting is a hard sport. I will say that. I'm not going to hit on everyone, but if you follow me, hopefully you will be in the green every once in a while. I will say last night I had a bad beat. I ended up betting $250 on the, what game was it? Oh, the Warriors hitting over 229. Unfortunately, it got at 220. All the experts were wrong in that one. I'll eat that one. But that's why we didn't broadcast it. That was my special one. You have to follow me on Twitter to get those ones right there.
Mr. Picks going to have a Twitter soon?
I am going to have a Twitter soon, and those are going to be my dark secret picks, my like middle of the night plus $100 bets we have going on. But
I like that.
For these bets, I'm gonna give you guys 3 picks today. Each one I'm gonna bet about $33. That's my money line. I like doing $33 because when you do 3 picks, it's still under $100. It's a deal almost. So the first pick I will give you guys is gonna be, where is it at? My NHL pick for the, what were we doing picks for? Tuesday. For doing Tuesday picks. Tuesday night. That is going to be the Florida Panthers versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. You got to go money line Maple Leafs right there. Let me get you the current money line spread for that.
Did you see that video?
Which video? Oh, I did.
The Maple Leafs.
It got me hyped. Their fan base is incredible.
Bring me Florida.
And not only that, they have the best player in the NHL right now in Austin Matthews. He's unstoppable. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer. So right now, money line is minus 155. I like that. The Panthers just had a chaos of a game against the Bruins. They played their heart out, and they have 1 travel day, and now they are expected to play not at home against the Maple Leafs. That's just too hard for a team to do. It's just too dramatic for them. So Maple Leafs, money line, lock it in. That's a win.
I love that pick.
It's just going to be a good pick. That's all it is.
A little bit of Maple Leaf, Florida Panthers news. The Panthers are buying all their own tickets to prevent the Maple Leafs from overrunning the stadium when they come down. Let me ask you a quick question. Do you know where the Florida Panthers play out of?
Port St. Lucie. I have no idea.
You tell.
Miami.
Really?
Yes. Wayne Heisnuzka, the Miami Dolphins' former owner, was granted an expansion team. You know what is in the Everglades of Miami? Panthers.
Oh.
I looked all this
I
up.
like it.
Yeah. So sorry.
Jungle Cats? Are actual Panthers in Florida right
Yes. I was like, why are they called the
around?
Florida Panthers? I will say if the Panthers win the Stanley Cup this year, we need to change those uniforms. They are terrible.
It seems like a very generic jersey, but that's okay.
Seems like someone just went to paint and put a Panther head in a shield and then put Florida over the top. I was thinking about this all day yesterday. I'm glad they won, though.
Yeah, huge win against Boston. Best season ever. Sucks in the playoffs.
Boston should have won that game. They were just so much better on the ice watching that game. They got. I hate overtime in NHL. I just think it's unfair.
So we're riding Maple Leafs.
Maple Leafs money line. The second
Solo. Just send it.
Send it.
All
Send
right.
it. The next pick may not be popular belief, but we're going Golden State spread minus 4.5. Let's look at some stats right here. All right. So all the main bettors, like professional bettors that like people go to the casino and they're making a living off this, they are picking Golden State to cover the spread at -4.5. If they're at home, they're untouchable almost. LA, I just don't like them. I'm not a big fan of LeBron James. And then let's look at these starting lineups real quick. Who do you guys rather have on your team? Russell, Anthony Davis, LeBron, Curry, Thompson, or Wiggins?
2011 Derek Williams.
I like Golden State a lot. I think they're going to do
I'm telling you, they are just the better team. When you look at those three against the Golden State's three, Golden State is the better three. And then think about the other two starters, Austin Reeves and Vanderbilt.
Well, but Reeves has had...
Or Draymond or Looney. You're going to take
true.
Draymond or Looney over those two.
True.
They just have the better players.
Who's the guy currently coming off the bench for the Lakers? He played for Gonzaga. I think he's from Japan.
Ryu.
That guy had more points than the entire Grizzlies bench in the series.
I'm just going to put it out this. Russell is awful. I don't think he's a good player. He's not panning out. So that's why I'm picking -4.5 Golden State at home, which is huge. If this was in LA,
The Oracle.
I probably wouldn't be taking that. But Golden State has the fan base and they have the hot hand. They may win this series outright. My next bet is going to be, let's go to the MLB. Let's go to my stats real quick.
Oh, we're still getting an NHL, an NBA, and an MLB.
Yeah, I'm giving you a full service table right here, boys.
You can parlay all three of those together for a full sports day.
And then we're going to
one-time bet.
And then we're going to do a correction form on next podcast saying we shouldn't do that.
Should not have parlayed it.
Okay, I love this bet right here. Texas Rangers, Diamondbacks. Texas is at home. They are actually the underdog. They're +132 on the money line, and that's where I want to take them. Your starting matchup, you got the Gallen for the Diamondbacks. He is 4-1, or you got Gray for the Rangers, who's 1-1 right now. But Texas at home in that ballpark, they're dirty. They're just amazing.
Mark is a big fan of that pitch.
You talking about Zach Gallen?
He's not going to do it.
I will say
He's not going to do it.
We sent out the tweet. Zach Gallen had 12 strikes in a game. We put a bunch of K's at the end. We are well aware Zach Gallen spells his name Z-A-C, and that's it. But you don't get C's when you strike somebody out. You get K's.
So let me throw you some stats out here. So both their last 10 games, they're both 5-5.
Okay.
Texas just had a huge offensive outburst against the Yankees.
Kick the shit out of the Yankees.
They're going to ride that hot hand. And not only that, their home record, 11-5. You can't beat that. That is huge right there. And let's look at some offensive ranks right now. Batting average, Rangers are 7th. Diamondbacks are 4th. RBIs, Rangers are 2nd in the league. Total runs, they're 2nd. They are an offensive powerhouse when they're at home. I love it. They're going to be my money line pick right there. $33 at plus, what I say, 132. You're looking at about $55, $60 in return. No,
I'll tell you what, I will.
I like that.
I believe in Mr. Picks. I believe in you. I think you've got the golden touch when it comes to this. So I will put my $33 on the Rangers money line against Diamondbacks, even though it hurts my heart. And I think Zach Allen is going to just destroy the Rangers. It's going to be hard to win a game when you put up 0 runs.
Ooh, no, 0. Ooh, no.
But okay, all right. I'm going to ride Mr. Picks. I trust you. I trust
and just
the
so
process.
everybody knows that they're listening, I put my own money into these picks. Like, I will post the screenshots of me betting this because I'm going to lose with you or I'm going to win with you, just so you guys know. And I've had a lot of losses. I'm just happy that I didn't get the IRS's attention last go around with my my losses going around.
We don't want to bring up. You don't want to bring up the IRS.
No, not right now. Not right now. And I will say, I'm not saying I'm doing 4 picks, but what I'm really worried about, what I like actually, is this Miami and New York game tomorrow on Tuesday as well. Jimmy Butler might be sitting out. It's not confirmed yet, so you may want to get those picks in right now. New York's still playing at home. They play strong at home. If Butler's not playing in that lineup, they may be a for sure lock. It started off at -4.5, and now it's at -7. It's going to keep on growing.
Geez.
So if you could get that in right now, I would say -7 is still a pretty good bet. Butler's their only offensive weapon. Lowry's not a good player right now. He can't handle that load with the shooting load, those threes. He's not the man. So get in that pick as a wild card right now at -7.
I will say the first game against the Knicks, I think the guards were 50% from three. The team overall shot 33% from 3-point line, which if you're going to tell me you're going to make one out of every 3 threes, I think that's a good. I think
It's
you
good.
take that
As a team.
As a
good
team.
Number.
If you take playoff Jimmy out of the third quarter, those last 8 minutes, New York wins that game by landslide. Yeah. And if he's not playing a full game, it's scary. Spike Lee's going to be there rooting for the Knicks again. You got to give it.
The Spike Lee effect.
The Spike Lee effect.
What does Spike Lee have on the line moving? His presence.
A lot.
Mr. Picks, we appreciate you.
So those are 4 picks right there, 3 guarantees, 1 wild card. We'll see next Monday where we're sitting at. Hopefully we're in the green.
That's true.
We got to get the Twitter handle for him.
I like that a lot of those. I hope. Do you know the last Western Conference team to eliminate the Warriors in the playoffs?
The Utah Jazz.
It's the LA Clippers in 2014.
Ooh.
Steve Kerr's won the last 19 series in the West.
He's
unstoppable.
That was so they lost, and Steve Kerr wasn't even their coach then. So that's how crazy it's been. Since he's been their coach, they just don't lose.
Steve Kerr from?
Who cares?
The University of Arizona.
Yeah,
Is Steve Kerr the best Wildcat to ever come out?
that'd be really sad.
With all his rings?
Best athlete.
With all his rings? I'm just telling you.
James Harden out of
I think
ASU?
it's tough, and I don't want to get into this debate right now. We would have to start this at the 0-minute mark. It'd be an hour and a half.
Nobody can touch him.
I think it's tough when you have so many athletes pouring out of the University of Arizona to be like, which one was our better one? You'd have to lay them all on a table
you'd be like,
and look
which
at their
role
accolades.
But
You could look
is it
at
stats or rings that play? It's rings.
You could look at ASU
Rings.
because they have one athlete. It's so hard to pick for them. So, yeah, we
Next
if
podcast.
you want to talk about the
let's get you riled
greatness
up next time. Then.
Yeah, that'd be beneficial. I think we're on to my favorite part of the podcast.
Oh,
The 2-sip drink review. What do we got on tap today?
this was asked by a non-listener, to be honest. So this really, looking at it, it's not going to be as effective as I thought it would be. But they're a follower of the IG. They said, try the Cosmic Stardust. And I said, I tried it. So there's a review out there in the Echoes of Space. I don't remember what I gave it. I probably had it one time. You never know if you have a bad batch or not. So we'll see. That was a good crack.
That was crisp.
To be honest. That was really nice.
When you have a clean, crisp crack,
Look at the wavelength of this is the sound. That's the crack. How loud that was. Jesus. Might have burst some eardrums.
The sound alone, that's a 10. I like it.
I mean, it tastes like candy. It's good. It's not that good, though. This is a 7.3.
7.3 is not bad.
Yeah.
7.3 is
it's
good take.
You would get sick of that. I'll tell you, you have that 2 days in a row, you'd get sick of it. It's nice. Like all energy drinks, you need to put it on ice. Do you want to try it?
This is the Alani New? Is the NU supposed to be? Is that NU?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. This is like a very hip thing. The TikTok kids are drinking it.
The TikTok kids.
Yeah.
Alani Cosmic Stardust. You didn't go over the facts for it. Is it sugar-free?
All of them are going to be sugar-free. They're going to be sugar-free and low-cal.
Oh, this one's vegan and gluten-free. I don't know if that's a big deal for you.
I didn't sign up for that, but most of them are. I mean, you could put that on water bottles. It's a fact, but yeah, 7.3. That's a review for the Cosmic Stardust. Not bad. Not
Good
great.
crack.
Yeah, great opening to it. You knew it was fresh. They had some good carbonation in there, but
Best part of that drink, probably the crack.
yeah, it was up there. It's one of the better parts. It just tastes like candy. Just There's no way there's no sugar in that. There's no fucking way, but whatever. And that was my one F-bomb for the day. I know that was another thing I got a lot of crap for from sources that I have a potty mouth. And that's okay.
We've got an Instagram now. We have a Twitter and Instagram. We're going to share your stories
Oh,
on
yeah.
your reviews. I think we got to throw them out there. We got to share the stories. We got to let everyone see.
Repost
Because you put out a lot.
I go through dips and waves of maybe 4 days in a row. I'll be like, I got to review 4 days in a row, and then I'll go 2 weeks, none. So
Is the inconsistency part of your consistency?
yeah, it keeps people wanting more.
Yeah.
They're they really want a review. They're like, where's the review at? And then I realized I watched I watch reviews. They're really easy to. I try to make them very manageable for people. They like look at my story. They're like, "Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that drink before." And he gave it like a 6. Okay, maybe I won't get it, or maybe I will, and try to combat his rating.
I think the best part is your reviews are all stories.
Yeah.
So you got to get them. If you don't get them,
Yeah,
you get 24 hours,
or they're gone.
or you're missing out on it. It's a huge part of the take.
You got me a drink.
Oh,
energy drinks. Those are for you guys, right?
Oh, we got to do them.
Oh, those are. I've done those before.
I think I'm gonna do one.
We might as well. We're here.
I guess performance.
Okay, we just got delivered 2 energy drinks and Kyle a Dutch Bros.
Yeah, that Dutch Bros is for later.
So I mean, we're just gonna have to review
What
this
flavor
right
do you
now.
have?
I have C4 Energy. I've never had a C4 before.
What flavor?
Never. Strawberry Starburst.
I got cherries. Ooh, and here's the thing: when I go for Starburst, I always go for the cherry and the pink one.
Okay.
So these are going to be great. I'm just excited.
Oh, you've been down this road before. Okay, we gotta.
You've never had a C4?
Never.
They're good.
So first time I ever had a C4, I had it before a basketball game.
You're start itching your face.
My whole entire body was itching, and my heart was gonna explode out of its chest. I don't know why. Since then, I've had C4s. It hasn't felt like that, but my first time, I just got really
Great. I can't wait to go into shock. The crack by Mr. Picks, not a very good crack. Let me see if we can get. Oh,
That was you forced that though. I felt like you. Well, look, that's
Mr. Picks crack line.
There's still a crack.
Yeah.
If you took a red Starburst, put it on your dashboard in Tucson in the summer, and let it melt, and then you licked it, that's exactly what this tastes like. It's amazing. Because I like Starburst.
Okay, so what do you got? 1 to 10.
That's pretty
I'm
high.
going to have to go 7.5 because my rating's pretty high.
2 sips, and let me tell you,
Those are good.
this tastes like a strawberry Starburst. Like
Okay,
you
alright.
you hit the nail on the head. Just let it melt and
Let it melt.
take the liquid from it. It's so good. I'm with you. There's no way this isn't sugar.
Yeah, there's got to be something.
This is more of a like you're driving on the road long term and you just want to sit. I can't drink this before a workout though because it's too sweet. But it's good.
If we're going purely, not on what this is about to do to my body, what about but if we're going taste, hot take here is 8.3.
8.3.
This is
Wow.
This is delicious.
That's high. Okay.
It's delicious.
You know what we need to get for energy drinks?
I'm nervous.
We need to try the Prime. Those big ones.
Oh yeah.
So if any listeners are out there has a hand on some Primes, let Jake Paul know and send us one.
Yeah, let the Paul Bros know. We need the primes. They have some of them, but I think they only have a couple flavors. Like the cool flavors, you can't find them. They have like very hidden flavors. So
That was all time Johnny on the spot delivery right
yeah,
there.
you know what? Stay woke on that. There's something behind that motive. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
We'll find out later. There's some motivation behind that
Okay.
stunt by Kelsey.
Well, that's review.
Yeah, that was it.
Those are reviews.
That's a pretty good review. You got 3. You thought you were gonna get 1.
You got 3.
You got 3.
We had a special caller.
Oh yeah, is it caller time?
I think it is called. We had a special caller, fan of the show,
Yeah.
longtime
One of the-
listener,
One. Yeah.
original listener.
We have Evan in Hoboken. Evan, go ahead.
How's it going, guys? First time, long time. Been listening to the pod for years. Just really happy to be on, and I'm a huge fan.
Thanks.
I have a Yankees point and then a question, and I'll hang up and listen. And I don't think it's necessarily Cashman's fault because the Yankees have been absolutely dominated by injuries. You got an entire outfield hurt: Stanton, Judge, Bader, Bowers, the guy they just called up. His knee exploded yesterday, which gives way to the worst player in baseball history, Aaron Hicks.
Yeah.
Yep, he's forced to play, and I'm convinced he's got like naked pictures of Cashman on his phone or something. But in any event, that also gives way to the back end of the lineup just being abysmal. The back four is Cabrera, IKF, Higgy, Hicks, just awful. And that's not even considering the pitching they have, which is just anemic due to some of the injuries. You got this guy, Johnny Burrito, pitching to almost a 6 ERA. And you can't even blame the dude. He's a rookie just coming out of AAA. And then you got Clark Schmidt. And the Clark Schmidt experiment
It's
it's
over?
done.
Yeah, it's over.
He's awful.
Yeah.
He's got like a 7 ERA, almost a 2 WHIP. He's terrible. And even like Nestor had a tough start yesterday.
Yeah.
He's taken a step back, and I think the pitch clock is just really messing with his cadence. And Cole is the only like bright spot in this entire Yankees team so far. It's just 2-2 WAR, only starting pitcher significantly above 1. And my point is, again, it's tough being bitten by that injury bug, but I think you have to do something to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
I think what I just heard was a Yankee fan experiencing what every other MLB fan has to go through and just finding excuses.
No. A lot of injuries. And there were only...
ton of injuries. We were talking, some of the top favorites. We're talking World Series before the season started, and now
You guys
we're
talk
sitting
World
in last
Series all the
place.
time, though, every season. That's the problem.
It's true. That's the expectation.
No.
That's the goal.
We lost to Houston in the ALCS. It's different. It's not like we're missing the playoffs.
The
last
trash
year.
can series?
But no, yeah, that was a few years ago. But that was my big point. Like, I think you have to take a waiver on one of these like veterans that's available. Like, take a waiver on Bumgarner, Keuchel, Chris Archer. Like
no.
one of these guys that may be able to pull a CC and just reinvent himself and become just somebody that's painting the zone.
Yeah.
Again, the Yankees are 3-7 of their last 10. Last place. They stink. They're just absolutely sliding.
Yeah.
So
I think
that
you
was my
nailed it.
point.
You nailed it with the injuries. It sucks. I think it'll be Judge going down really sucks. Stanton you knew was going to get hurt, and Bader we knew was going to come in a little bit later. They're going to force him back early, but they're in trouble. Their offense is so bad.
Hey, you know what the best part about MLB is, though?
Long
Is I got
season?
long season. My buddy's a Boston Red Sox fan. He doesn't even watch until like August.
Yeah.
He just doesn't pay attention to the front half. So you got time. We got time. I don't think Bumgarner's your choice, though. Watching that guy in Arizona, I knew Mad Bum was going to be a terrible pitcher when they asked him, like, are you happy to be in Arizona? And he said, yeah, I'm a big horse guy. I can't wait to get a big piece of land for my horses. Like, bro, you play baseball.
Well, what's your question, Ev?
Yeah, so with the Yankees being bad, and like Clark Schmidt was taking the mound the other day, and they had just like an awful lineup, and I'm like, it was like pretty much even money against the Rangers. I'm like, if you fade this team, so I guess like if you're a fan of, let's say, the Yankees, I'm a Yankees fan. Can I fade them regular season because I'm basically positive that they're going to lose? Or does that go against the gambling code, betting against your own team?
Well, you got Mr. Picks in this lab today, so he's going to help you out with that.
So
Oh, I thought he didn't pass away?
I did not. I'm fresh off the surgery table, good to go, good to be back, And I will say I'm an avid baseball fan myself, and with the Yankees, the one thing I can't stand is the dead money they always spend. This is we could do another podcast on this. Stanton, I think the worst pickup. He's just not. He's never going to play more than 100 games in a season anymore. But to your question, if Cole's on the mound, I'm betting Yankees all the time, just because that guy he's finally worth every penny that they're paying him. He's not what he was last year. He is who he is now, and 5-0. He's going to hit 10-0 most likely, depending on the offense. But depending on who the Yankees play, if the Yankees are at home field advantage, you got to take the Yankees. If they're away, yeah, you may have to bet against them every time because you just don't trust them. You don't trust them.
I have a buddy who is a big Cowboys fan, that team, and he starts off betting from game one against the Cowboys. And he just says, I'm just hedging my emotions.
Yep, I like that.
So I'm just going to bet the other team to win, because if they win, I feel bad the Cowboys lost, but at least I made money.
Yeah.
And if the Cowboys win, then I paid for my victory.
Yep.
So I think you're good. Fade them.
Well, think about this. Cleveland at New York, Cole's pitching, they're only at minus 135 on the money line, and that's because their offense is atrocious right now. But the pitching is incredible. You would take New York on that, on the money line still, minus 135.
I'm taking New York against any team that changed their name to the Guardians.
Yeah. Yeah, Ev, I think you're right. I think you can it's the Luke Favali method. So Evan and I grew up with this kid called Lucas Favali. He's actually a broadcaster now, but he was adamant. He was same fandom as me, which is very weird because you had a lot of choices growing up. But we were Jets, Knicks, and Yankees fans, and he would just bash our teams. He'd be like, "The Jets stink. They stink. They're the worst." And then when they'd win, he would be like, "Well, they won. I don't really care." But then when they'd lose, he'd be like, "I told you I was right." So it was like he was playing the cards of how he can come into the cafeteria the next day and be.
Yeah, that guy's a bully.
No, he was a great guy, but he knew what he was doing. He was he knew exactly how to hedge his fandom, and now he's a broadcaster.
One last little tidbit for stats, because I'm a stat guy. The Yankees are known to what? Buy players that hit the long ball. Chicks dig the long ball. You got Stanton, you got Judge, you got Rizzo. Those guys are big long ball hitters. So if they're not all in the lineup, they're not going to score runs, and that goes with the stats right here. The Yankees rank 13th in the league in home runs. In batting average, they're 26th.
Yikes.
In RBIs, they're 25th. Total strikeouts, they're 16th. Doubles, they're 30th. Hits, they're 27th. If they're not hitting the long ball, they're not winning. Then evident if Stanton or a Judge aren't in the lineup, they're not winning. That's their offense.
It's been bad.
The Yankees should just take $1 billion and just tell
Shohei Ohtani.
come over
Ohtani
here.
is the greatest player.
That's the next guy that's gonna go. They're gonna get.
They're gonna take Corbin Carroll away from the Diamondbacks. They're gonna take Zach Gallen away from the Diamondbacks. They're gonna take all of our good guys. That's just typically what happens. Is the Diamondbacks and the Yankees are kind of intertwined. Every time we have a good guy come up, Didi went to the Yankees. It's just every single time. So just pay attention to the Diamondbacks, and then this time,
Future Yankees.
yeah, they're all future Yankees.
Yeah, it's a farm system for the Yankees.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for the call, Ev. We appreciate it.
Thank you
Hey,
guys
for being our
Looking forward
first
to
caller, we're gonna send you some swag. We got coming.
No, well, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Get you a Hicks autograph ball.
Take care.
All right, that was our caller.
That was a good call. That was a good caller. Good question.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of bettors have their own codes, but I could give a shit about my fandom. If I think I'm gonna win money, I bet against the Jets all the time.
Yeah, the Dolphins-Ravens game last year, I told my wife, I was like, we put $100 on the Ravens to win this game, and when they were coming back, I was celebrating so much in my living room, and she just couldn't understand. She goes, "You're about to lose $100." I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't understand."
Fandom win.
We just came back. It's probably the greatest comeback in NFL history.
On a quick side note, Aaron Hicks signed baseball on sale for $79. Fanatics.com.
No, nobody cares.
I hate Aaron Hicks so much. He's just a complainer.
I think we got to jump into the NFL draft. This was at the bottom of the things to talk about the NFL draft. I'm gonna bump it up to the front right now, here and there. NFL draft day one, must watch TV. The rest of it, who cares?
Yeah, big who cares. I also am not a big. Well, okay, so I said this to you last time. I'm not a big, or we said it during the week. I don't have to watch the NFL draft. Like, it just doesn't. I can look at my phone and get the same info and be like, oh yeah, that guy was picked. I know who he is. Then we were in the office this week, and the first 13 picks were on TV, and I couldn't stop watching it. So that kind of surprised me. It's intriguing because of the countdown, the timer, and all these trades that were made. It was very entertaining.
Day two of the NFL draft was more exciting than day one. Day two opened up like pick, trade. It's just like a lot of movement going on.
And the countdown's less on day two.
Yeah, it's
So
just,
that
let's
helps.
get to business. We don't need to do 15 minutes to make the jersey in the back and
Yeah.
bring the dude out front.
Talk about the family and how they got there. Yeah.
So day two, day one though, you gotta watch if you have a top pick.
Yes.
Because it's just so exciting. Who are we gonna go? When the Dolphins drafted Tua, that's all I cared about, right? Like, that was my day.
Yeah.
I got to get home. I got to watch the draft. I got to see who the Dolphins are going to draft. Are they going to go Tua or Herbert? And so,
Happy with Tua?
always, big Tua fan. Tua stan.
Right now, would you rather have him or Herbert?
Tua over Herbert?
Just be honest. You're in a circle of trust.
Okay, circle of trust to every listener. Tua is a much better player than Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has the deep ball. Justin Herbert may have these physical skills. Tua wins games. And I'm telling you this as a fan of the Dolphins. I had Ryan Tannehill for so many years. I had Chad Henne for so many years. Guys who could probably on their butt throw the ball 100 yards through the goalpost.
Yeah.
And Ryan Tannehill did not win us anything.
Wouldn't it be cool to have Tyreek and Waddle with Herbert? Does that seem pretty
I don't think
unfair?
so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Because
Sidetrack.
Because
Sorry.
here's the thing. You have their routes they go up, and Tyreek has never been just like a 9-go route. He's got the slants. He hits the slants. And you have to have a quarterback who can get the ball there. I feel like every time Justin Herbert makes a pinpoint throw, which he's an NFL professional quarterback, the guy should make a really good throw every now and then, the media just grabs that clip and throws it everywhere. Tua makes 30 a game.
Okay. Look, you're a big Tua stan. I know it. But Herbert's pretty good, too.
Also, that was my fault. It has nothing to do with the NFL draft. But back on track. And quarterbacks. Because you had 3 quarterbacks taken in the 4 picks. The Panthers can now watch 2 other quarterbacks develop and be like, we should have taken them. So we got Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, all who kind of have a little quarterback currently in the NFL they mirror. Bryce Young, Kyler Murray, C.J. Stroud, not currently in the NFL, Jamarcus Russell, Anthony Richardson, Lamar Jackson.
I thought Anthony Richardson's more like a Cam Newton.
Cam Newton's
Cam
way
Newton?
more accurate.
Okay.
Because of their size, because he's like 6'4" or whatever. But yeah, it's always exciting when you pick a quarterback. It's always really stressful. I've been in those shoes way too many times. But it gives your team that hope going into preseason that, like, this year there's no expectation. Like, there is, but there's not for those teams. Because you can always fall back on this is a new quarterback. And we're trying to figure stuff out and develop him. It is weird that since we've all been fans of football, how it's changed, how they've just thrusted these guys into the starting roles and been like, good luck. And some of the guys embrace it pretty well, but my take on all
Josh
this...
Rosen, not so much.
No, poor Josh Rosen. It's a lot of the system they're in. So I think, is Zach Wilson the worst quarterback ever? I think the joke is, yeah. I think that if you put him on another system, I don't think he's as awful as he was with the Jets those years, the 2 years. I think that certain guys need to find a better home, and that's where you just hope, like, it happens. But also, you're drafting at the beginning of the draft for a reason. Your team is not very good and not run extremely well. So hopefully they figure stuff out, whether it's new coaches or development staff, and helps them out. I think Richardson seems to be, like, the guy that everyone is raving about because of the physical stuff, but
Guy's a freak. He's a freak athlete.
And the Colts don't have a terrible team by any means. Like, they got Pittman on offense. They have some weapons for him to use. It's just about if they can make that next step, and if they have the guys around them to help them, whether it's O-line or coaches or whatever. So it's exciting.
You have C.J. Stroud, who the joke right now is that he just bombed that aptitude test. They changed the name of it. I don't remember the new name.
I don't even know why you would take that. I would refuse.
Well, yeah, why?
As a player going up, I'd be like, no, I'm good. Just watch my tape and you can interview me, but I'm not taking a test.
Are you concerned, though, that he tested so low?
Yeah.
If you're drafting
You
him
have
at
to
number
be.
2?
Yeah. Like, remember we talked about the Jamarcus Russell stuff where they would hide stuff in his playbook to see if he was reading it and he never found it? Like, that's what's going to potentially happen to a guy like that who's not, like, fully invested in his studies. You're just afraid of that.
Do you think C.J. Stroud, and I didn't watch a lot on C.J. Stroud, do you think his take and physical ability when playing quarterback is better than Will? And I always mess this dude's last name
Will Levis.
Will Levis.
Will Levis. I don't know. That guy didn't really impress me either at a school like that. He's sort of like the Daniel Jones where you just hope after a couple years they develop really well. But, like, it'd be really shocking if Will Levis came out and just, like, started slinging right away for Tennessee. I mean, hopefully he gets to do, like, what all these quarterbacks kind of hope is sit behind a quarterback for a year. If he's going to sit behind Tannehill or whatever and learn more and not have any expectations. But it's really tough. These guys have a lot of expectations to go in and go crazy.
The Titans are a hot mess right now at quarterback. You have Ryan Tannehill, who I just ranted about his inability to win the big game. Then you've got, who's the young guy behind him? They drafted him
from Liberty.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, he had a really bad year. Not enough people talking about that. The games he would come in, he played so poorly. But that team was also, like, very weird. Like, they were in and out of, like, winning their division, wild card, and they were similar to like a Jets, where like their worst player position was quarterback for a bunch of the time. So I don't know. I think that they can't go anywhere but up. Hopefully, I think Tannehill will bounce back though. You never know what these guys are dealing with injury wise, and they needed some help. And they also traded AJ Brown. That totally fucked that team up. That's my second
one.
bomb.
Malik Willis. That's
Willis.
the young man who they drafted kind of in an Anthony Richardson role. Not as athletic, not as big, not with better game tape, but that's who they kind of tried to draft. And it just didn't work out for him. And now you bring in Will Levis.
Will Levis.
And if I'm Will Levis and I go into that situation, that quarterback room, like Malik Willis is not your friend. He's going to be on, he's going to smile to your face. He's not your friend. Ryan Tannehill, probably your friend, probably wants to help you grow.
Well, what did they interviewed Tannehill last year when Malik came in?
It was not a good interview.
He's like, I'm not here to teach this guy. And
yeah.
It's a fair point. Like, this is his job. So, like, he doesn't want to necessarily be a coach. He's still playing there. Like, indirectly, he's not going to probably try to sabotage him, you would hope. But that's going to be a weird quarterback room because he was taken in the first couple picks last year, wasn't he?
Right, yes.
So, and then you take another quarterback right after. I mean,
well, he was picked in the third round.
He fell.
He fell down, so he was the first couple picks for the Titans.
Yes.
He wasn't like a top, first round.
So he was in their first. He was in their game plan of like, we want him to be part of our team. He wasn't like a 6th-round pick, but.
And you had Will Levis. Like they traded up, right? The Titans traded up to go get him.
Yep.
So they liked something about him. They saw an opportunity. I for sure thought the Raiders were going to take Hendon Hooker right after because the Raiders traded up. And when they moved up and they got a tight end though, this guy who called himself Baby Gronk, and there was a lot of talk about, he's Baby Gronk. I think it's Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
You can call yourself what I can call myself Baby Gronk right now. I can go play on the lawn down at the university and I'd be like, I'm Baby Gronk. So that's a lot to be like.
No one will ever be Gronk.
No, Gronk's from
Buffalo, New York.
University of Arizona.
He is from Buffalo.
Okay, well
he went to U of A.
Yeah, he went to U of A. So did the Panthers get it right, Bryce Young?
I hope so. It seems like the Panthers had a really weird team, and then they had a pretty good offseason this year. So I hope they surround him with some good pieces. I think the Christian McCaffrey trade will help them out too with getting some more components, but they're not there yet. Maybe they'll be like a middle of the pack, like 6 or 7 win team this year. That'd be like your goal and get him good reps. But he seemed like he was the guy for them.
I don't think the Panthers are in a situation right now where their fan base is like, win us a Super Bowl with Bryce Young, which I think is a good thing for him.
What about Stetson Bennett? I think the Rams picked him in like the 3rd round.
Yeah.
I'd like that for them. Teach under Stafford. That's a nice little quarterback for them. He's a little weird. He's a little old, but why not?
We got a huge shout out to Bijan Robinson. He's got to be the first local to make it as high as Robinson has and to be drafted. So shout out him. Congratulations on him.
Weird pick, can I say it? Just for that team?
Yeah. The Falcons, what are they doing? Maybe he was best fit. Or not best fit.
Player available.
Best player available. Robinson, huge Tucson Turf kid.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Went to Sal Point. So glad for him. I think the last local native to come out was another running back.
Kadeem Carey.
Christian Nash.
No, not Christian Nash.
His 40 time was too slow now.
Kadeem Carey. Kadeem Carey went to the Bears, went to a couple other teams, went to the CFL. I think he still plays.
That's who
Still plays in the CFL.
Christian might have played against that guy, to be honest.
Kadeem Carey, little known fact, he is the highest contracted CFL player ever.
Oh,
jeez.
Well, go get it. Go get your bag.
$12?
No, it's in the. He's
making,
big time.
All right, good.
Look this up real quick.
Yeah, Christian told me he played against him in high school.
Pick 8 was Robinson?
On a team that had a running back, and arguably 2 with...
Cordell Patterson.
Yes, Mr. Patterson. And then they had their...
Allegri?
Yeah.
Allegri?
Who had 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's pick up first round.
Well, they went offense last season. Was it Kyle Pitts drafted last year?
He was.
They went
so.
Kyle Pitts, huge, like he was a top pick too.
Wasn't he top 5?
Yeah, the team needs a quarterback.
Desmond Ridder.
Desmond Ridder's time now. You know what's really pathetic is I love Marcus Mariota. I would still pick him up as the Jets.
808.
I'd be like, hey, come be Aaron's backup. Like, I would love that.
Yeah, you guys are going to need a backup because he's not going to play 65% of the snaps.
No, you don't think so?
No, I mean, I'm sure he will. He's going to give it his best.
I have not been more excited for a Jets season in a really long time, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be very reasonable about expectations, but I think they're going to make the playoffs, hopefully.
So, the Jets, Dolphins, Colts, those are our teams. Mr. Picks, how the Colts do?
Gardner Minshew, mustache is back. We're going to be over 500 this year because of him.
Not going to play Richardson?
I wouldn't.
No. I like that.
Minshew and that coach for the Eagles, like, you got to bring him in slow. Got to bring him in slow a little bit.
I think that kid, though, he's got that dog in him, and he's going to be tearing it up in training camp.
You know what's amazing? Richardson is only 20 years old. Only 20 years old. He has time to grow. And let him.
My fear is what happens with the Jets in the last 20 years is they play poorly in the season, first 8 games, and then there's just like, hey, put him in. Let's put him in. What do we got to lose? And you're like, well, he's 20. Why? Like, let's just let him watch for a little bit, and then next year he can be the guy. But then it's just that they force it into a shitty situation.
So you like the Colts above 500 this year?
I do like them.
Happy with the draft.
The division, they will beat the Texans. I don't think C.J. Stroud is who he is. I think the Colts are still better. The Titans, Tannehill, he ain't. It's all dependent what's going on. We have a weak division, and I like it.
Okay.
But 500, I think the Jags win the division.
Number one
hands
Colts
down.
fan says he loved the draft. Jets, how'd they do?
Jets had a weird draft. I'm going to be very blunt about it. This Will McDonald kid that they picked first round was everyone's saying is a reach. But then again, these guys have their own scouting stuff, so whatever. I love that they went best center in the draft next because, you can move him to guard and do whatever you need to. Their last pick of the draft, they picked this guy named Zach Kuntz with a Kuntz.
Old Dominion.
From Old Dominion. He rated 100 out of 100 for athletics in the draft test. They said he's an absolute freak. We've seen that before, but I thought that was pretty cool that he is like
He's a tight end.
Tight end, absolute freak.
He probably can't
Said
catch
he's
the ball.
like
That's
the
probably what his issue is.
fastest tight end in the draft. 6'8", so that's cool, but I think little messed up part is the Patriots traded back right before the Jets' first round pick to a team, the Steelers, who needed linemen, and the Steelers fucking picked a lineman.
Third F-bomb.
That's my third one. And the Patriots, again, screwing over the Jets. The Jets were totally going to go lineman there. They were going to go one of that tackle that was left. And
I just think it's a little funny. You get Aaron Rodgers, and then and you're going to say, well, we got Young.
I'll read you them.
We've got Garrett Wilson. He's got the playmakers. And then you go when you get a linebacker. It was hilarious.
What do you want him to get?
I don't know.
Another rookie wide receiver?
Get the best offensive tackle there and throw him on the line.
They drafted 3 before the Jets picked. What are you going to get? One that's a second-round pick?
And they got Lazard and Hardman.
People forget that.
Yeah.
They forgot
Hardman
that they got
is
Hardman.
the underdog.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well,
Do you remember Hardman last year?
okay.
Played for the Chiefs. He was the fastest dude.
I'm sure Aaron Rodgers
real
is so
because
ecstatic.
they're both in your division. I'm going to give you these spreads. The outright winner for AFC East. We don't look. I'll give you the 3 teams. We already know the Patriots are last.
The Bills.
Plus 135, plus 225, plus 300 to win the division. Who do you think's plus 135?
The Bills.
Favorite.
If they put the Jets at plus 135, it's simply to steal all the money from the New Yorkers.
But it's the Bills.
Absolutely. Bills 135, Jets plus 225, and the Dolphins coming in third plus 300.
It's going to be a tight race. I look forward to this year in the NFL. The Dolphins draft recap, I think a lot of people are like, oh, you didn't have a first-round pick because you wined and dined Tom Brady, which is, again, not illegal to take a guy on a yacht and have him for drinks. The Dolphins' first-round pick I love. His name is Bradley Chubb. His name is Bradley Chubb because we traded that pick. So he was a good addition to the team. I love Bradley Chubb. I think he'll come in and have a great year as an impact player from the draft. Second-round pick, we got that cornerback, speedster. A lot of people love him, Cam Smith. I think that he, coupled with our third-round pick, Jalen Ramsey, are going to be a really good new cornerback duo. Vic Fangio in Miami, going to put all those players together. You like how I'm doing this?
So
we just built through trades in the free agency.
it's just interesting because last year you kept saying you guys had the best corners and secondary, but it seems like they're just addressing problems in the secondary.
You tell me right now that the Jets want to draft Jalen Ramsey in the 3rd round? That's a
No.
steal.
I don't think I'd like that kind of guy in my locker room.
I think
Around Sauce Gardner.
Around Sauce Gardner.
He needs all the positivity, not some weirdo that snatches chains.
And then we also got in the 3rd round that running back from Texas A&M. The kid ran the fastest 40 time. If you can run really, really fast, you can come to the Miami Dolphins.
That's true.
Because if we're not going to win a Super Bowl, we're going to at least compete in the Olympics. So that's our goal. It's going to be a good year for the football. I'm very excited. I think the draft does a good job of balancing that halfway time of the season ending, season beginning. You get a little bit of taste of your team.
Yeah, then rookies show up, and then they do the release of the schedule.
Yeah,
It's like the timetables.
Release the schedule is huge. I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna try to be at a Raiders game this year.
Oh yeah.
I think that's gonna do it today for our 2nd episode. Thank you, Mr. Picks, for being in the studio with
Happy
us.
to be here.
I think we got a great week of sports coming up. We got Game 7 tonight, Rangers, Devils. I'm so excited for that game, 5 p.m. our time. We've got the NBA 2nd round kicking off. A lot of great matchups. And then the release of the schedule. Not this week, though. It's going to be...
It's in May sometime.
Well, it is May 1st.
Yeah, I think it's...
May 6th, calling it.
It's
Anyways,
exciting.
A lot to look forward to this week. Thank you for listening to us today. Our viewers are what keep us going. I was excited, woke up this morning, happy to come here to film this. I shot our first video for our Instagram. I think...
I got to follow on Instagram. I haven't followed yet.
It's
Didn't
brand
even
new.
know.
Catch us on Twitter at Sundown520. Catch us on Instagram. You go to the Twitter, you can find the link. The link to the YouTube podcast will be on both of our programs. We're going to start putting up some videos on the Instagram. We're going to start putting out a longer video on YouTube of us just goofing off and having a good time. Mr. Picks is going to create his Twitter. We're still going to tweet his picks out. We're going to try to get them out to you every single day. The Cactus Run will always be a mystery. Little cold, the Cactus Run. We're going to heat the Cactus Run back up. Put those tweets out to you guys. Thank you so much for listening and have a good day.